a retired but active architect who in 2019 co-authored the first non-partisan citizens policy proposal for addressing Singapore's key housing problems. So in the 1970s, Kheng Soon conducted research on HDB's high-density, low-rise housing. He then went to KL, where he built 10,000 modern kampong houses. He has developed ideas on urbanization, an alternative model of human settlement, and Kheng Soon's other passions are trying to revive the Scouts and start kampong economies. Okay, over to you, Kheng Soon.
By the way, these are my two friends from Germany who are here because they thought that Singapore's housing is fantastic. But I think I corrected the view, right? Okay, I'm afraid that I'm going to sound like an angry old man. Yeah, because I think the housing problem we have in Singapore is a no solution problem. Okay, and why is that so? In the beginning, public housing was, I think, until fairly maybe into the early 90s, was Singapore's crowning achievement. We really were able to provide affordable housing for a lot of people, right? But today, I think that it has overrun its time, and I think the greatest mistake that was made by the government was to sell the idea to the population about asset enhancement. That is really an opiate in which people got drugged, okay? And it, in the process, has weakened the entire society. And this is what I'm going to talk about. Okay, why there's no U-turn? There are three interrelated problems. Number one, the government created the problem in which it trapped itself. Why? Because the affordability, the asset value of the flats cannot go up. It went up very, very steeply in the beginning because Goh Chok Tong said that buying a flat is more than having a roof over your head. It is an asset investment, right? And then Lee Kuan Yew actually told everybody that the government will make sure that the value of your flat will never go down, okay? Which is totally untrue. Unless the government does a miracle. That's because there's an economic law called Bala's Law. Bala was an economist who advised the government during the British period that said that rental properties, after they reach 50 years, there will be an inevitable decline in value. Why? Because banks will not be able to finance any property that has less than 50 years lease left. Okay, therefore the value deterioration is inevitable. So this is a trap that the government is in, and because of this trap, the second trap that many Singaporeans who bought flats. By the way, 90% of Singaporeans own their own flats, which is an amazing achievement. That almost the entire life saving is in the flat, right? It is the only asset that they have. And therefore, they are all hoping that when the time comes that they need to retire and sell their flat and to downsize or to migrate to Johor, they will have to suffer a loss in their price recovery. The third, which I think is the most serious issue, which affects most of the young people here, since most of the people here are young, is that the first-time buyer in the BTO or even in the resale flats are entering into a debt trap in which they are going to be trapped for 25 to 30 years, paying off their the mortgages. Now, what are the implications of all these three? Number one, the government is going to be afraid that they're going to lose votes because the retirees are going to be very angry. They cannot recover the full value, what they expect from their property. So they're going to vote against the government. So the government's majority position in parliament will actually decline. And this is worrying them. And therefore they are handing out bits and pieces of money, $100 for this, $300 for that, and so on. Finally, young people. The problem is this, that the Singapore demographics is, I call do you all know the demographic thing? It's the Buddha head, right? Right? The sharp peak at the top because people live longer, the bulk at the top, and then the younger people are very small at the bottom. So demographically, the young people are irrelevant. In a hyper-capitalist economy, young people are irrelevant, not only because of numbers, that they are small in number, but because they are in the debt trap. And being in the debt trap, they cannot risk anything because they have to pay the mortgages. And therefore, all the entrepreneurial spirit that they have, they cannot exercise. So therefore, they cannot be all of you cannot be relied upon to build a new Singapore. I'm sorry. You are irrelevant. Okay? Unless you are incredibly exercised about the future and you are going to stand up, right, and make your presence felt powerfully, your silence is a disaster for Singapore. Okay? So this is where I think that the two issues that the government are attempting to address, which they call affordability, and the other is accessibility. So affordability, they are giving all kinds of grants, right? Up to $120,000 grants, right? Accessibility, they're going to build a lot more flats. But there's a third factor which is totally missing in the discussion, and that is sustainability. I'm not talking about environmental sustainability. I'm talking about the survivability of Singapore. Because if young people and the older people are debt trapped, right, and the asset value is eroded, they are not going to be the principal movers, right, to shift this economy to a high gear. That is the position. So, despite all the humanitarian concerns that we all have, right? We want to be good and to the old people. We want to be good to the dispossessed. We want to be helpful to the single parent families and so on. All the kind of concerns that you are concerned about, right? Yes, but I'm saying that unless you deal with the problem at a structural level, right? You are not going to solve this problem. And what is the structural level? The structural level, I want to debate it later on with anyone here, is that the government who has creamed off the asset value because land was added to the building costs, right? And all that money has gone into the reserves, right? Every citizen in Singapore now should demand a citizen's dividend, right? It's impossible to calculate what that dividend will be because we do not know what is the total amount of asset that has been salted away, and we do not know what has been the investment outcome of that money. All right, but whatever it is, that is a demand, that is a necessity, that is what makes citizenship meaningful. Thank you.